Mead and cheese.
Welcome to Mead and Cheese with me, Lord West.
And me, Lord Thomas Jackson.
And our special head engineer.
I am the special head engineer, and I am a mystery.
Yeah. Would you like us to announce your lovely name?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
This is Lord Isaac Laing, Chief Engineer of Mead and Cheese, and he is the person who we check all our scientific facts by, and he's currently engineering as a rocket.
Yeah, I believe that is true, although I think you disregard most of my scientific advice.
Well, a king's prerogative is to nitpick the advice of his council to meet his agenda.
Well, that's all advice is, isn't it? It's just a suggestion, and it's up to us whether we listen to that suggestion.
Exactly, because you can't listen to every suggestion. Have you met Reddit? Have you met Twitter? Too much.
Exactly. So, we asked on one of our episodes recently, is it possible to build a rocket fueled by mead? And I think you confirmed that it was.
Well, not quite. I confirmed that you can't.
I can't recall you saying you can't. I recalled you saying it was possible.
Well, it does depend on your definitions and how far you're willing to go with a bit of creativity.
As far as we can.
As far as you can. Well, in that case, as I am clearly very qualified in rocket science, I will say with 100% clarity that yes, you can power a rocket solely via mead and cheese, I guess.
That is great news.
Great news, Isaac. Thank you. And is it more sustainable than the current methods?
Yes, I would say so.
Yes. By the way, for all you not watching, I don't have any weapons on me. I wasn't forcing Isaac to say that. I wasn't peer pressuring him into say that. That is. Would you put your degree on that statement?
Well, let's not go that far. I don't want to get discredited.
Yeah, so it is possible to fuel a rocket with mead and cheese. We've had our expert confirm that, and one thing I'm excited about, because we actually spoke about, we are in the initial meetings of actually creating this rocket, and in one of these meetings we had just a few weeks ago, we were discussing how it would work, and our chief advisor said to us that we could use the cheese was it the cheese or the meat to get it up into space? I can't recall.
Well, it was actually rocket fuel to get it into space.
Mixed with mead, though, wasn't it?
Sure, if you wanted to.
Yeah, because the mead it was like 1 part rocket fuel, 1 part mead, and then there'll be a cow. Our plan was in the actual rocket, which you could, and a farmer. So there'll be obviously an astronaut, and there'll be also a farmer-naut.
Yes, in order to get the dairy from the cow.
Yeah. Well, obviously we'll supply
and that's the sustainable method. You just have a cow giving you infinite fuel.
Exactly, and the only thing you need the mead and the rocket fuel, I'm not sure which one of them is more important, probably the mead, is just to get it out the atmosphere.
Yeah, I would say that is the most important thing, isn't it? Because if we can have a rocket fueled by mead and cheese, and I think as we discussed on the Pirate Special, we would then have a meadery on the moon, and we could use real moon honey and have this over moon honey mead, where it's like, no, we're the real moon honey mead.
Yeah, we literally are the honeymoon. So yeah, Isaac, now obviously we value your experience and we want you down here on our executive table on Earth, but alas, would you go on this rocket?
Would I go on the rocket to the moon?
To establish the moon meadery?
A colony just to make some mead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit of a tough sell.
You would be king of the moon
Well, that's you're making it easier now. If I could be king of the moon
with a
King of the Moon.
with a farmer friend,
with a friend who's a farmer, and we'll have a pet cow.
pet cow. Yeah, you'll have a lot to do there, and you'll be king. And every so often, I would need you to send rockets back with the mead you've produced.
Thing is, it's one thing asking Isaac if he would get on the rocket, but he already is. We're on the rocket right now. That's why we're not live on Demon FM for this episode.
I was trying to keep that a secret. Well, things happen fast, don't they? And Isaac has achieved his first goal and has made the rocket. We're not going to be on the moon permanently. Obviously, we have important stuff to do on God's Earth. But Isaac, I don't believe you believe in God.
No, not really.
No, you don't, and that's why you could go on the moon, because God only overwatches Earth, and he doesn't really do much on the moon.
So okay,
What?
so he created everything, but he doesn't care about the moon. So that's like just free access. Anyone can go there and claim it.
Yeah, you could essentially be God of the moon.
Okay. Well, seeing as we're already heading to the moon right now, obviously, since we're recording inside the rocket.
Yeah, I think next week's episode may even possibly be live from the moon.
Yeah, Isaac. Can you make that happen?
Well, I'm not really a sound engineer or anything technical like that, so I can't really set up a radio station on the moon.
Well, we'll get Ed with you.
Get Ed with me. Well, my expertise is more in the theoretical side of building the rocket that we're now in.
But
I could send you back quite nicely.
What's that?
I could send you back quite nicely.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, Isaac, you're the sort of person who puts theory into practice. I've always believed that, particularly while under our reign. Now, today's a new day. Things are changing fast in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Strange things are happening.
Yep. And this is a new area. We recently lost our beloved Queen, Elizabeth, and this is a new era, Isaac. And I think the best way to start this new era is by going back to the moon, because we haven't been there since the 60s.
Well, Great Britain never went there.
Yeah, but yeah, Isaac. Why is that?
Isaac.
Why is that? Why does the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland have a space program?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure. Well, actually, I do know. I can tell you the reason why. Is because Europe has a European Space Agency, so not one country in Europe will go to the moon by themselves.
But Brexit means Brexit.
Exactly.
That doesn't stop our scientists and the scientific community from being a part of
Brexit
European.
means Brexit, and this is going back to what Tom said about God and the moon earlier. Yeah, so you said that God created everything, but what you fail to understand is that us humans had a vote to leave the solar system union. So
Yeah.
only Earth is under his control now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So every other planet is fair game.
Okay. Not really sure where to take it from there. The moon. Also, the moon isn't a planet. It is a moon of Earth.
Well, you see, the moon was classed as a what was it, like a dependent territory
Yeah.
of Earth, but then it had a referendum where it voted, I think, 73% to go independent.
Yep. I think
So
that's
the
true.
moon is classed as its own independent planet now.
I see. With no one on it.
Well, we were on it last week, and we voted.
Yeah, we voted, Isaac.
To to secede.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not unionists, are we?
No.
So where's this conversation gone?
don't know.
We jumped ship very quickly.
So I think it's time to play Pitch Invasion.
Oh god, okay.
There has been an asteroid hit the moon.
Quite a lot of asteroids have hit the moon.
A big one, though.
A very
and
big one. Okay.
It has caused a sizable chunk of the moon to break off. And now, this chunk of the moon is having a referendum to become its own independent planet. And you, Isaac, are going to pitch to us the Vote Leave campaign for that independent moon planet.
Oh god, okay. And I'm going to come up with a little campaign for this little chunk of rock from the moon of
Yeah.
why it should leave its union.
Why
or
it
whatever.
shouldn't be part of the moon anymore, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's quite easy.
Yeah, so you've got, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
2 minutes? Should we get a timer up?
Yeah, we'll get a timer. Tick tock.
Could you
Tick
get a timer?
Someone's got to get their phone out.
Okay, I'll get the timer up as Corey doesn't have hands anymore. He chopped them off.
Oh, Corey's brought snacks, everyone.
No, I haven't. I'll get a timer up.
Well, I've got a timer up.
You can both have a timer.
Okay, Isaac, your time starts now.
Okay, you've got 2 minutes. How Pitch Invasion works.
Well, yeah,
Just before we start, Pitch Invasion is a unique, original idea by the Mead and Cheese Corporation.
Yep, yeah, it is 100% original, 100% ours. Isaac, when was the first time you heard about Pitch Invasion?
On the pirate episode.
And that was the first time you ever heard of the idea?
That was the first time I ever heard of it.
And is it your position then that Pitch Invasion is an original Mead and Cheese segment?
It is, yes.
Excellent. Then we can begin the show.
Yes. So, just to remind the viewers at home how Pitch Invasion works, you will have 2 minutes. We can invade your pitch at any time to give you prompts or ideas or ask questions. And while we do that, your time will be paused.
Exactly.
So, you have 2 minutes to pitch why your sizable chunk of the moon should become an independent planet. Your time starts now.
Okay, well, first point is quite easy. Is because the chunk is no longer attached.
Pitch Invasion.
Okay, that was a very short one. Okay.
How did you get to the moon?
Via rocket.
What type of rocket?
Saturn V rocket.
What was it fueled with?
I'm pretty sure that one was fueled entirely by rocket fuel.
Okay.
Pitch Invasion.
Okay.
What is your new planet going to be called?
Since I'm the one running the campaign, it probably should just be named after me.
I like
Call it Isaac, the Isaac planet.
The Isaac planet. I'd prefer something like Isaac Stan or
Isaac
something
Lund.
like that. Yeah, Isaac Lund.
Anyway, you may continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Continue.
Apart from the fact that it's probably now considered an asteroid or probably turn into a comet, my new very small independent planet, as I didn't even get to the first point yet, is that it's no longer attached to the moon.
Pitch Invasion.
Okay.
What does this mean for trade?
Well, it will be. I will agree. It will be very much harder for trade with the moon after we're no longer attached to it. You know, shipping premiums will skyrocket. As you know, you will have to use rockets to get from the chunk to back to the moon.
That makes sense, yeah.
Pitch Invasion, what will be your main export on this planet to what keeps your economy thriving?
It will be moon dust.
Moon dust.
Okay, your time continues.
Okay. I'll finish off the first point. Now that we're no longer attached to the moon, it just naturally makes sense that we're no longer part of the governing body of the moon. We should be able to make our own decisions of that.
Pitch Invasion. The moon government argues that if Gibraltar can be part of the UK, you can be part of the moon. What's your response?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I would rule that Gibraltar and the UK are somewhat connected by sea, and via an atmosphere, and so it's easily accessible either by plane or by boat.
That's a really good argument.
That is
but
a very good argument.
the Isaac planet, the Isaac chunk, the only way to reach it will be by rocket, and also to point out, Gibraltar and the UK are forever the same distance apart, but the independent chunk will be varying distance. Sometimes it'll be close, sometimes it'll be very far.
Okay, your time continues.
Okay, well, where was I? I said we were no longer part of the moon, so we shouldn't be considered the same governing body. What other points can I make? Let's see.
Pitch invasion.
Oh, okay, go.
How would you form a government on this moon, and what type of government would it be?
That's a very good question.
Well, the government will be of it'll be an elected official, and since I'd be the only one there, I can just elect myself for the governing body. So, and then I'd be the first ruler, and then I can just put in changes that no one else can be ruler.
Pitch invasion.
Yes.
Some of the moon remainers, people are calling them remooners,
Okay.
are arguing that the moon government is planning to build a sky bridge between the main body of the moon and the Isaac chunk. What's your argument against that?
My argument against that is in violation of international law, since they won't be don't have permission to build on my the end of the bridge on my chunk, so they won't be able to finish it.
But you are not an independent nation yet.
Okay, then the next thing I'll say, which could lead into my second point, is that the independent chunk, as it hurtles away from the moon, it'll turn into a satellite and orbit the Earth, probably. So you wouldn't be able to build a fixed bridge.
That's a good point, yeah.
That's a good point,
That
yeah.
is a very good point.
It might cost a lot of money for the moon government to actually build this infrastructure.
Here's a question. Would your independent Isaac chunk join the Solar System Union?
If it granted us enough benefits and protection from those remooners.
Because as we discussed earlier, every planet, including the moon, is in the Solar System Union except Earth. So if you are closest to Earth, do you choose the rest of the Solar System as your trade partners, or the Earth itself?
Well, if we orbit the Earth, if the independent chunk ends up orbiting the Earth, then it makes sense to do a lot of trade with the Earth and not with the rest of the solar system. If, however, the independent chunk just turns into an asteroid or comet and sort of does a long oval path through the solar system, then that would give us ample opportunity to visit, to do flybys of all the other planets and make loads of trade with them. So our options are quite open, really.
That's a very good point. Your time continues.
Okay, I will expand on that for another point. We shouldn't be remaining of the moon governing body, because we can either start orbiting the Earth, and which should therefore be considered our own independent satellite of the Earth, which the moon is one satellite, we should become the second. We could even become another moon over time, and as such, we should make our own decisions. Secondly, we might not orbit the Earth, we might orbit through the entire solar system. And does it really make sense to be governed by the moon if we're maybe sometimes two astronomical units away from it?
Yeah, that's a very good point to add on there, because if you're just flying through the solar system and you end up, crashing into Pluto, Do you really want to be governed by the moon, which is very far away?
Yeah, how are they going to help us if Pluto gets annoyed with me?
Exactly, but also, here's a question for you. Let's say you do crash into Pluto. How do you solve that diplomatically?
Well, if my independent Isaac chunk crashes into Pluto, then that might just be the end of the independent Isaac chunk.
Pluto, bear in mind, isn't in the Solar System Union, as they
were voted out.
As they bravely voted them out and said, you are not a planet.
And now they're a dwarf planet.
Yeah, they're in the Dwarf Union, I think. Yeah.
Then, I'm an extremely diplomatic campaigner. And say if we sort of did skidded off each other, causing untold casualties on both sides, then, that's just opportunity for, to give aid for cultural exchange, out of serious problems such as, a collision, in these dark times. There's only one way to go but up.
Pitch invasion.
Pitch invasion, yep.
One day, while you're campaigning for your Isaac to be an independent moon, a rocket lands on your planet. It lands awkwardly, and two mysterious men get out with a bucket of paint and say, Here! Hello, Isaac. Unfortunately, if we will support you, if you change this moon's name to Pluto, and we start then, and Corey and Tom start painting the moon yellow.
So the two mysterious men are DJ Mead and DJ Cheese.
And we want to change your planet's name to Pluto, and we start painting it instantaneously yellow with big brushes.
Well, no government official is going to have clean hands, so to speak. Everyone gets a bit shady, so I might just have to remove these troublemakers from the soon-to-be independent Isaac asteroid chunk.
Pitch invasion.
Yes.
The moon has now seceded from the Solar System Union and has formed a new union with the Earth.
Okay.
How do you respond to this?
Well, that would be actually very worrying to me. Because if I am a discarded chunk of the moon, making my own way, and then I see the Earth and the moon team up, I might think that they're gonna take back the Isaac chunk by any means necessary, and I might have to seek protection elsewhere in the solar system.
Pitch invasion. Supreme leader of Earth, Vladimir Putin,
yes,
has claimed the moon as part of Earth's territory.
Yes.
And has declared war on the Isaac chunk.
Oh no. See, my concerns were valid, That's exactly what I predicted.
Who do you go to for help?
Well, the first ones I would think I would be either Venus or Mars, because they're the closest to the Earth. They would be the quickest to render aid.
They are also pretty big in the Solar System Union. They are big players.
Yeah, very big players.
So they would be the first I approach, and I would ask them for aid.
So the current ruler of Mars is Lord Chairperson Corey Kane West, and the current ruler of Venus is Maddie, who is ruled through her partner Lord Thomas Jackson. And they say, if you want our support, you need to make 700 meters on the moon, on Isaac, and you need to call it Isaac Plutonian and paint some of it yellow.
Also, the president of Jupiter, Jed has claimed that in order for you to join the Solar System Union, you must allow him to put a Jupiter military base on your chunk.
Well, making compromises is it is just politics in itself. So I don't mind building a few meteors. Everyone will like mead eventually, I guess. So if that's okay. Jupiter, I guess I'm not surprised they want to build a military base, as Jupiter has got 52 moons itself. So it's got experience in dealing with moons orbiting it, and it might if I give them a military base on my chunk, then they could give me their expertise on dealing with moons.
Yeah, and Jupiter is also seen as the leader of the Solar System Union, so it would be wise to have them on your side, I think.
Having President Jed of Jupiter behind you.
Yeah, Jupiter, is the biggest.
It is.
It is a gas giant.
It is. It was Jupiter that bullied Pluto out, I believe.
Pluto probably didn't agree to a base, military base.
I think that's exactly what happened, yeah.
Well, I don't know why Pluto didn't accept that. I mean, if we get invaded from another solar system, Pluto is a good outpost for the edge.
Some people on Earth, some of the solar system leave campaigners, such as Figel Niraj, would say that Jupiter's grand plan is to build a solar system army.
Well, that may be true, maybe not. But what is so wrong about that? I mean, the defense sector, it's responsible for a lot of jobs, stimulates the economy, and we don't live in a time of peace. Not everyone's happy with each other. There will be dissenters, and
Dissenters, that's a cool word.
a cool word, yeah. And we may need a solar system army. So
Pitch invasion. Pluto has approached you to join the Dwarf Union.
okay.
How do you respond?
Well, if I've already got a Jupiter military base, that just might not be possible straight up. The independent Isaac chunk, ironically, probably isn't even big enough to be a dwarf, to be a dwarf planet. So they may be out of luck there.
Pitch invasion. The Sun, leader of the Dwarf Union, because of its dwarf star status.
The what? The Sun isn't a dwarf star.
It is now.
Oh, it is now. Okay.
Has just nuked Jupiter.
Oh my god.
And Jupiter has been destroyed.
I didn't think that was possible. Jupiter was the biggest player in the solar system.
Saturn has seceded from the Solar System Union.
Everything is just fractured. I don't think the Solar System Union is going to hold any water any longer. Jupiter was its biggest. They just got nuked. Saturn, second biggest. They've seceded. I don't see any point in dealing with them now. Oh gosh, no.
Earth has captured Uranus.
That sounded yeah, okay. Earth has captured Uranus, so Earth has turned into a military superpower.
Saturn is trying to stay politically neutral.
Oh, that's an interesting
Saturn
point.
is the new Switzerland.
The new Switzerland.
And there have been movements from Earth and the Dwarf Union to try and grasp as much of the solar system as they can. And you are caught in the middle of this. Both you need to either pick to stay independent or join forces with one of the sides.
Yeah, which side will you join? Both sides have said, if you don't join our side, we will destroy you.
But it is in your prerogative to stay independent if that is your royal wish.
Okay. Well, how about I choose an option not on that list? I don't stay independent, but I don't join either anyway, because I don't like threats.
Nice.
Nice.
So, are you saying that your chunk will fly out of the solar system?
No, the chunk was originally born in the solar system. It's going to do everything and anything in its power to bring stability and peace to its new empire.
Ooh. What territory are you going to capture first?
Well, first,
There's lots of chunks of Jupiter flying around if you wanted those.
I'm sure, as a fellow chunk, many of those new chunks will just flock to me, as I've got experience being a chunk. But I'll tell you what the first thing my chunk would do. The first capture would be the Kuiper belt around the solar system.
Ooh,
Because if I control that, no one leaves.
that's a good point, and that has a lot of chunks in it.
Yes.
So are you saying you have now formed your own chunk empire?
It will be. Yeah. It's big enough to form an empire. No one will leave the now warring cesspit that is Sol. And so, if anyone wants to get out of the conflict, they come to me, and I say, join the Chunk Empire. we will home you in the Kuiper belt.
Pitch invasion.
Yes.
The moon has approached you. A rebel group on the moon has approached you, wanting to leave Earth's rule, asking to join the Chunk Empire. What is your response?
Well, this is an option. This is an opportunity. I could fund these separatists, and they could. It'd just be it'd be a proxy war, a cold war between me and the moon. That's the governing body that's currently controlling the moon. I fund the separatists. They fight for me, and they eventually take control, and then the moon joins the Chunk Empire.
So this went from you pitching to leave the moon's government to the moon joining your vast empire to take over the solar system.
And that's how I've won.
That is how you have won Pitch Invasion.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That just went from 0 to 1,000.
Well done, and that was a very good pitch indeed. It is probably perhaps one of my favourites, and perhaps one of the longest pitches.
I think I'm going to try and animate that with, like, battles and things, because I think
that would be pretty epic, yes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing that.
That sounds great. So, anyway, Isaac, we have much to discuss on this show. It's not very often we have such a knowledgeable base on the show. Us three are very, very wise people.
Yeah, we're like the three wise men.
The three wise men, and so one of the biggest issues in our current lives is Lord Chair Corey and former Lord Chair Tom cannot access the radio station. So, as our newest member to the Grand Committee and Small Council, how would you resolve this?
Get your cards updated with access.
Counter argument. We've been asking for access all year, and they still haven't given us access.
Then you take a page out of the Independent Chunk Isaac's book, and you start to get a little mean.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
A strongly worded voicemail might do.
Now, what we're going to do is, as we are such wise men, we're going to quickly go over to Reddit.
Why are we going over to Reddit, Lord Jackson?
Stay away from certain parts of Reddit.
We are going to go to look at people's problems, and us together, we're going to solve them.
This sounds like a good idea. We have like a new way of thinking in the studio. We have an engineer's brain.
Well, I have the title chief engineer, head engineer, but I do prefer the very general and vague scientist.
Should we promote him to Chief of Science?
Chief of Science, Master of Science.
I do feel quite honoured for that.
Hand of the Mead and Cheese Empire.
So, how do you, as a scientist, avoid catching feelings for a roommate?
Yeah. So a little bit more contents on this question. I rejected a guy on Tinder just a few days before I moved in. I had no idea it was crazy coincidence. He's bad news, but really enjoyed joking around with him, and he has been somewhat attracted to me. He did say what I was really cute, had nice eyes, but he met me in person. Oh, so this girl went on a date with someone on Tinder, and it was her roommate. Is that the crux?
I think that's what she's saying. Yeah.
And she's just asking how to avoid catching feelings.
Yeah.
For said new roommate. Okay, well, here's the thing. It is going to be extremely hard for you to not catch feelings if you are, physically attracted and emotionally attracted. For example, she said he makes her laugh. So, already we're in a tough situation. How would you solve it? An ice water bath every single night. Just stick your face in it and just think, no. That's one option. I really don't know.
I think get into a sport maybe.
Well, if you're not around them, if you're not hanging around with them in the flat all the time, then your feelings for them will dissipate, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're too busy, playing football, and you only get back to sleep and you never see them, then that's, I guess, a way around it. You just bypass the whole problem.
Or other thing is, go with it. Don't avoid getting feelings. Go on a date, see what happens, and then once it breaks up, you're sort of over it by that point.
Well, I guess that's an out of the box answer, is just go for it. But I guess if they're a roommate and they break up, then all of a sudden it's awkward.
Yeah, but how long does it have to be awkward for? A year?
Well, I suppose you don't want it awkward at all, because you got to live with this person. You have to cook meals in the same kitchen, use the same bathroom.
Friend zone them maybe, and then do the hobby thing.
Well, the hobby thing is bypassing the problem, but it won't solve it.
So how do we solve this? How do we maybe perform a surgery what removes the part of the brain that feels emotion?
That's very out there. I don't think that's a acceptable solution. You could, if you really want to, just meet other people. Get your friend to set you up. Go on dates with someone else.
I think that's the main thing. I think it's not just about going on dates. It's about finding good people to be around. It's not just, the more people you will find people you fall for as you go along. But also you'd find some people who are great friends. Expanding your network of people by doing things you love is a great idea.
Yes, so, next on Mead and Cheese Solve Your Problems. Will the unit has a problem with his big brother. So, Will and his big brother have to share the same room, and Will has nowhere to go. When they go to bed, his brother starts bitching at him.
Okay.
He thinks he knows everything, so when I have a problem, he gives the shittiest advice ever, and then gets pissy when I refuse his advice. I can't do anything to make him shut up, and it is a serious problem, and he's wearing me down every day. What do I do? Asks Will the unit.
Okay, so first of all, why are they all of a sudden having full-blown conversations when they go to bed? Shouldn't they be sleeping at that time?
Well, people like having a natter before they go to bed, don't they? A little natter. Do you? Do you and Liz have a little natter?
Me and Liz could talk for hours while we're in
Yeah.
bed, yeah.
Yeah, so it does happen. I can understand that.
And second, if the big brother is giving advice but then bitching for some reason, is Will asking for advice but then complaining that he's getting advice back? I need context here.
So yeah, it just says, when I go to bed, he starts bitching at me. He thinks he knows everything, so when I have a problem, he gives the shittiest advice. So my suggestion would be don't tell him about your problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty simplest answer.
Yeah,
Don't give him the fuel.
Yeah, if you bring in problems to him, like every time, I mean, if you bring a problem to someone will naturally try and solve it. So, you know,
Yeah.
if you just think that device is shitty, then that's really on you. I mean, it's good that you can make that judgment. It's good. And obviously you want to talk things through your brother. It sounds like you're giving your brother a bit of a hard time if you're asking him questions and then moaning about and giving you the answers.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a bit of a back and forth, isn't it? Like, you're
Yeah.
giving your brother your problems, and he's giving you advice, and then you don't follow his advice, and then he gets angry.
I mean, the big brother can only give advice to the extent up to the life that he's lived. So if Will is not liking the advice, then the big brother can't give different advice.
Well, that's it, Will. Let's say your chunk of the moon is trying to become independent and then ends up forming its own chunk empire. Your brother might not have any experience in that, so he's
Yeah.
not going to give the best advice in that field, but maybe there is advice that he would be better suited to giving.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like I'm not someone who could give you much advice on, I don't know, I'm quite smart actually, I know a lot of things, so I could probably give advice on almost most things. I've always got something to say. No, I'm not very good at carpet. I'm not really good at like putting like carpets in. You know, your best person to go for that is an expert on carpets, and like, you know, if you want relationship advice, your best person is to go to the most like, you know, person who seems steady-minded. You know, you have a different advisor. Like, that's what we have on our committee, our grand committee. We have different people who are experts in different things. We've got Isaac, who's a great scientist. We've got Corey, who knows a lot about mead. And we got Maddie, who knows a lot about the radio. And we've got Hugo, who knows a lot about making sandwiches and French history. So we've got a lot of people to go to for very specific things.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is get more brothers and sisters and go and have them all down for one little bit of advice.
What would you say to that, Isaac?
Yeah, that's pretty good. You know, you have experts for a reason, and then you just listen to what they have to say.
Yeah, so I think we're getting close to the end of our rocket special.
Already? Oh, that is a shame.
Which I think most of it was the pitch invasion,
That's a late long
which was
pitch
supposed to
invasion.
last for 2 minutes,
Yeah.
but it ended up in just being this. I guess I don't know what it was. Just turned into like us writing a script for the newest season of The Expanse. I don't know.
I might turn that into a animated series on
really
the
think
Mead and
you
Cheese
should.
channel.
It just
Yeah.
goes from lowly chunk asteroid to mighty chunk empire.
Yeah.
That would
Just
be the best thing ever.
Entirely animated in PowerPoint.
Well, talk about pitch invasion. Last week we had a terrible pitch invasion. Honestly, God, it was like...
Oh, it was one of the worst, and I don't like putting our guests down, but I don't know what was wrong with this guest in particular, but it really was a terrible pitch invasion, wasn't it?
What was the prompt?
Well, we asked them to pitch, was it a new mead and market it?
We asked, because this was our cider expert, Ed Woodywess, who we had on, and we asked him to pitch a mead cider.
And what did he give you?
He gave us, what was it? It was
Maple
like maple perry.
Maple Perry, but it was he said on it, "Oh, we're going to say 100% made with mead," but he said it wasn't going to be made with mead.
Well, that kind of defeats the whole point of having a mead cider.
I know, and like,
well, to be fair, if you ask a cider expert what he wants to make, he's probably going to want to choose cider.
The thing is, we don't normally like to deviate from our pitch invasions. Like when we asked you to pitch an independence movement for your chunk of the moon, you deviated a little bit, just slightly, but I would say you did it in a way that blew the original pitch out of the water.
yeah.
So that I will accept. But this, what Ed did, this dishonesty,
Yeah.
we won't stand for it because we never lie on our show, do we?
No, we've never lied before on our show, ever. And
We have integrity.
Ed was like, you know what? I'm going to make this cider. I'm going to say it's mead, and I'm going to sell it to people. And under our brand, under our holy brand.
Yeah, we created Pitch Invasion.
Yeah.
We would never lie about anything.
Yeah, we created Pitch Invasion. Now, in all...
So he might have to be excommunicated.
Yeah. Now, in all honesty, we did say to Ed that you have to make a new mead without mead. And he went for maple. And as part of the joke, we decided at the end that we'll shun him for it because he wanted just a mead.
So what you're saying is that last week's Pitch Invasion was just an excuse to bully Ed.
Yeah. Yeah, we got him to do this pitch, and then we said it was awful because it didn't have mead in it.
Well, you know, my pitch invasion did have mead since Corey mentioned. Oh no, it was Tomo mentioned the 700 meaderies to be built on my chunk, and I agreed. So yes, it has mead in it.
So anyway, we've had a lot of guests on our show. We're probably one of the most guested shows in the world.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, we like to always. Me and Corey don't do this on there. We have private meetings about who's our favourite guest.
Am I the best guest you've had so far?
I would say you are definitely one of the best guests we've ever had.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't put a name on the best guest. I'm not sure. We had a mead expert on. There was a the guy made mead. Very interesting guest for the show.
We had a Transformers expert, Sam.
Yeah.
He was a great guest.
Brilliant guest. Said a lot.
We had the hackers. The hackers were great guests.
Yeah, the hackers show didn't really incorporate mead very much though. It was more.
Well, you're kind of diluting the whole great guest now, so I kind of feel I'm a bit underwhelmed.
We had Hugo, the sandwich expert.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Hugo because Hugo is our sandwich vet. Right. So one of our guests is a royal descendant of the French throne.
Yes. So before we finish off this episode of Mead and Cheese, we're going to play What the Hugo Doing?
Yeah, what the Hugo doing?
So we're going to ask you, what did Hugo put on his sandwich this week?
And I have to guess.
Yeah.
Or just make it up.
Yeah.
I think he put some cheddar cheese on his sandwich.
Yep.
Some piccalilli.
Yep.
And some shredded beef.
Could I do one?
Go on.
I'll do one.
Go on.
I think he had. I don't think it's shredded beef. I think he had beef from dried up beef from a carvery.
Right.
Rose petals.
Right.
Both red and white rose petals from his garden. And
Okay.
light butter, not full fat butter. And I think he had a bit of chutney on that.
Wow. Once again, he actually had, because he's the king of France, fried snails and frog's legs
Fried
That
snail.
was unexpected.
with a garlic spread.
Oh.
So that is the space special of Mead and Cheese. Thank you for listening, and we will see you again next time.
Signing off.